11 jobs while we were together for 7 or 8 years.
I would have said, toodaloo, adios. Instead, what you did was make a baby with him.
She didn't stick around. She moved out and didn't tell me about it. He didn't pay out.
How much child support did you pay?
None. She cleaned him out. She did leave my clothes, but the house was empty.
So?
Judge Judy.
I suggest you start paying child support so their child still has to eat.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheidt. The people are real. The cases are real. The rulings are final. This is Judge Judy. Craig Lawrence is suing his former living girlfriend, Melissa Steiner, for rent and for stealing his belongings when she moved out. Order, all rise. Yeah, this is case number 198 on the calendar. The matter of Lawrence versus Steiner. You're welcome, Judge. Twice this morning, Your Honor. You may be seated.
Mr. Lawrence, you and your friend were in a relationship for several years. Ms. Steiner has 2 children, 1 child from a previous either marriage or relationship, and 1 child that you have together. According to your complaint, she moved into your home, and after several years, according to you, it wasn't working out because you had met somebody else, or it wasn't working out, and then you met somebody else. I'm not going to get into that because, quite frankly, I don't care. In any event, you left Ms. Steiner in the house, even though it was your house, because you agreed to allow her daughter to finish the school year in the house, but you had an agreement. And your agreement was for those months she would pay rent. So far, do I have it down?
Right.
That's why they paid you the big sum. You claim she did not pay you rent as she promised she would for the 4 months that you lived there. And in addition, when you returned to the house, either alone or with your new lady, you found she had taken the property that belonged to you. You want the rent and the property. Ms. Steiner says there was not an agreement. She took only what she came into the relationship with, and she's counterclaimed. She has a rather unique counterclaim. She says she is entitled to have the equity in your home. She will explain that to me. So how long did the 2 of you live together in this house, Mr. Lawrence?
Let's see, I bought the house in October of '99, I signed on there.
And did Ms. Steiner and her daughter move in right away?
Yes.
When you purchased the house?
Yes.
How old is the child that you have together?
6.
Boy or girl?
Girl.
Oh. Ms. Steiner, you working when you moved in?
Yes.
Where were you working?
I was working at a nursing home.
Mr. Lawrence, you and Ms. Steiner were together for a substantial period of time. When did you move out of the house in with your girlfriend?
Early February this year.
Did you give Ms. Steiner any notice?
When I broke up with her, I told her we'll try to work as like a roommate type situation, you know, until the...
That's very nice, especially
So
when
I
there's
told
somebody else involved.
Right, so I told her I'd just grab some of my clothes elsewhere. You pay me $400 a month in rent, I'll pay the other part of the mortgage, and then at the end of the school year, I give you plenty of time to figure out where you're going to go.
And she moved out in June?
No, well, she was supposed to move out in June, but she moved before school let out and didn't tell me about it.
Okay, so she was supposed to be out in June.
Right.
So we're talking about 4 months.
Correct.
From March until June, how much child support did you pay?
None.
None.
Because we hadn't established that. I did tell her if she paid the $400 a month in rent, I was going to give her $250 in child support. Since I didn't receive any money for rent, I didn't pay the $250.
Then it's a wash, Mr. Lawrence.
Yeah.
You paying child support now, Mr. Lawrence?
No, that's my next step. I've already gotten in with child support and told them they need to...
Just 1 second.
I'm sorry.
So is what you're telling me after she moved out at the beginning of June, you paid nothing in child support?
That's what happens. Right.
You know that my sympathy level is going like this?
I understand. The whole situation is, if I can show you...
Mr. Lawrence. Like that. Now what items do you claim, Mr. Lawrence, that Ms. Steiner took from your house when she left?
Well, basically the house was shot empty. I mean, all she did leave me was a recliner, a coffee table, a lamp, and a few items down in the that were in the closet downstairs.
What had you purchased, sir?
We had purchased together a 62-inch big screen TV.
Just because it was something you purchased together?
Yes.
With joint money?
Yeah.
So, what do you want me to do about that?
She did not give me a chance to, we wanted to get together and figure out who's going to take what. I mean, she just took...
You don't expect me to do that, do you, sir? Mr. Lawrence, I'm going to explain something to you, sir. You were in what you considered a committed relationship, not one recognized by the state. The state recognizes marriage, and the state has put in an elaborate system, Mr. Lawrence, for how to separate marital property, how to divide it. The state does not condone living together as a relationship. The state has not put into existence how you divide property purchased with joint money by two people who are almost married, and they do not provide a system of jurisprudence. That would be neat. To sit here and figure out how much each of you contributed to the 62-inch television set, or how much each of you contributed to the sofa love seat, how much you made, how much she made. The state does that with marrieds. You chose not to get married, she took the property first. I would say the same thing to her. If you took the property first, the state hasn't put into effect a system where I have to waste my time or Bird's money in a public system to figure out who bought too bad.
Does that also include items that she took that didn't even belong to either one of us because it was my grandmother's that left for me?
Well, sir, then what you would have to do is to show me a copy of your grandmother's will.
I have a letter here.
Don't show me a letter.
It's an affidavit from the estate.
I'll take a look at an affidavit from the estate that says certain property belongs to you. If she took property that was left to you by your grandmother, she must return it. That's your personal property. You take any property that he got from his grandmother?
The freezer.
Freezer.
Yeah.
You have to return it.
It was given to both of us, though.
Now, she only gave it to you because you were there.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
We had like 11 jobs while we were together.
After number 7, I would have said, toodaloo, adios, arrivederci.
And later today,
How many children do you have? Where does this fit in? The second son. We had it for me.
Judge Judy. Cody Lawrence says ex-girlfriend Melissa Stein owes for rent and the return of his belongings. Melissa is countersuing, claiming Cody owes her for half of Tome's equity.
Okay, freezer. That's what you get back, Mr. Lawrence, and I suggest you start paying child support, sir, because despite the fact that there's not a child support order, your child still has to eat. Now, you want to explain to me why you think you're entitled to any equity in this house, Mrs. Stein?
Because I paid on it just as well as he did. And, I mean, he had like 11 jobs while we were together for 7 or 8 years.
I would have, at that point, after number 7, I would have said, toodaloo, adios, arrivederci. Instead, what you did is make a baby with him.
Right.
That's it. But if you were together when you moved in 1999, you should have been smart enough to say to him, listen, you're buying this house. I want my name on the title. I'm assuming part of the mortgage responsibility. I put my name on the mortgage. Then the house is half yours and half mine. You chose not to do that. You lived there like a tenant. The state doesn't put in a system for almost married this guy. You got it? He gets his freezer.
Okay.
Counterclaim is dismissed. That's all. Goodbye. Good luck. Have a happy night.
Parties are excused. You may step up.
My daughter's the number one thing. I talked to her a lot on the phone whenever she left.
I hope he starts paying child support.
I'd try to pay child support out of something that I don't have because she didn't fulfill her rent. I'd have fulfilled the $250 if she'd have fulfilled the $400.
I hope he is able to see his daughter and he takes more interest in her and stuff than what he has been.
I got a new life. I want to bring my daughter into this new family.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Shapiro, this party witness. Step forward, please.
Eddie Shapiro is suing her son, 22-year-old Jason Hardwick, for a loan to buy an '88 Mustang and for a loan to pay restitution.
Mr. Shapiro, this is your son. You were taking care of his cold, and when you were cleaning up after him, that you'd ever be suing him?
No.
You must be pretty frustrated.
Very frustrated. He owes me money. I mean, it's not even the money. It's the issue of responsibility. He needs to pay his debts, and that's why we're here.
How many children do you have?
4.
Where does he fit in?
An older son, him, a younger son, and a daughter.
What about your other children? They okay?
They're fine.
So this is what the case is about. You loaned him money for a car.
Correct.
Tell me your first name.
Jason.
Jason, when did your mother loan you money for a car?
I'd say last year.
Mr. Shapiro, when did you loan her money for the car?
May 13th of 05.
What kind of a did you buy, Jason?
About a 67 Mustang.
67 Mustang?
Or, no, it was an 88. Sorry. I was thinking of a different car. 88
You're only
5.0.
century apart. What?
It's an 88 5.0 Mustang.
And according to your complaint, Mr. Shapiro, he paid on the car.
Yes. 4 payments.
And what was the total amount he borrowed?
$1,500.
How much did he pay?
And on 6/14 of '05, he paid $120. On 7/18, he paid $95. On 8/20, he paid $80. On 9/21, he paid $75.
And then he stopped paying.
Correct.
And Jason says he stopped paying because the car got towed.
Yep.
And he couldn't get the car out of impound because he didn't have any money.
Correct.
So he called you. And he said, can you give me some money so I tow? You said, I don't have any money to give you to get your car out of tow. So the car didn't get out of tow. He lost the car. And he says it's your fault that he lost the car so he doesn't have to pay any more money.
Right.
Right? That's the defense.
Yep.
You want to say that to me? Because I did that, but I would like to hear it coming from your mouth, Jason.
Well, I borrowed the money, I got the car, then where I was staying, I was forced to move, and I couldn't move the car at the time because it was broken down at the time.
So where did you leave it?
In front of my friend's house.
How long did you leave it there?
Like maybe a week before it got towed. Because I had to get it fixed, and I was fixing it, and I was trying
Well, you could have pushed it into somebody's driveway or something.
I didn't
Right?
have no driveway to put it in.
Did you call your mom and say to her, listen, can I leave the car in your driveway?
Well, I didn't think to ask her that.
You didn't
And I would have
think?
had to have it towed over there or something. I didn't have the money for that either.
So you think it's her fault that she didn't lend you more money?
Yeah, so I couldn't get the car. I don't have a car, why should I give her the money for it?
Let me ask you this question, Jason. How old are you?
22?
Did you go to high school?
Yeah.
Did you finish?
No.
That was a big mistake.
Yeah, no.
You look like a pretty stout kind of guy. You ever eat at a restaurant?
Yeah?
Go and you order dinner, finish the dinner, they bring you the bill.
Yeah.
You look at the bill and you say, why do I have to pay this? There's nothing on my plate anymore. So I want you to make believe that your mother is a bank. And instead of borrowing this money from your mother, you borrowed it from a bank. Same scenario. You're doing road work on the car in this public street where you're not allowed to do it. You leave the car on the street. Somebody gives you a free pass for a while, but after a week, they tow your car. You don't have money to get out. You call the bank. Say, listen, I owe you money on car loan. But unless you loan me more money so I can get my car out of tow, I'm not going to pay you any more money. Hello? Is this a crank call? Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
Does that sound foolish to you, Jason?
Yeah, it does.
So let's not say foolish. I mean, the first foolish thing that you did was not very good in high school, but then you would have had money maybe to fix your car. Now let's get to the other problem that you had. I'll hear you again, Mr. Shapiro.
He was accused of
Stealing cash?
stealing cash.
What kind of place were you working at the time, Jason?
It was like a diner meal.
It was a sandwich shop.
And what were you doing?
I was cooking.
And you were accused of stealing
Yeah.
out of the cash register?
I don't know, they never told me where it was from. They just told me money was missing and they feel that I was doing it.
Okay, so he called you.
Correct.
What did he say when he called you?
That he was accused of stealing and that they were going to press charges and put him in jail unless he came up with the money.
And you said what?
I said, let's go meet with her.
With who?
With his boss.
Right, so you sat down with his boss.
His boss in her office.
Go ahead.
And at that time, she basically told me exactly what had happened,
Well,
the
tell me-
amount of money that was taken.
When she sat at the meeting with you and your son and accused him of taking this money, what did he say?
He had admitted to doing it. And she was
How
willing
much
to
money are we
adopt
talking about?
$2,715.
I didn't say nothing like that.
What did you say?
I told them that I wasn't admitting
No,
nothing.
don't look down. Look over here.
I wasn't going to pay them. I was going to go try and get an attorney, try and fight them and everything. I wasn't taking the rap. I didn't see no proof I did it. I didn't see nothing.
Now, just a second. We're not talking about proof. Listen to me very carefully, Jason. You got your listening ears on?
Yep.
Your mother says that at the meeting with your boss, you admitted taking the money. But if you say to me, I told them that I wasn't taking the rap for this because I didn't do it, the fact that your mother is a liar. Is that what you want to tell me?
What I said?
What did you say?
I said that.
No, don't look down.
I said I didn't say that.
You said you didn't say what?
I didn't say that I took the money.
What did you say?
I said that I was going to try and fight it.
With what?
However I could.
Is that what you told your mother?
Yeah.
Tell me exactly what you told your mother.
I didn't tell my mom or anything. I just said I wasn't going to, I didn't want to pay it. I didn't want to give him this money. I didn't want her to give him the money. I didn't want nothing. I just wanted to go try and get a lawyer or whatever and try and
So
fight
then
this
why
out.
in the world, Jason, didn't call your mother and arrange to go to a meeting with her? And why did you go to the meeting with her? Or go to the meeting if what your intention was to say, fine, arrest me, I'm going to get a lawyer, and I'm going to fight these charges. You want to explain that to me?
Figured she knew more than I did about the type of stuff, and she might be
What
able to
type
give me
of
some
stuff?
kind of advice. what they were telling me.
Just a second. I can understand, Jason, you calling your mother at home and saying, Mom, I want to come over and talk to you. This is what they're accusing me of, and I didn't do it. I want to get a lawyer, and I want to fight. What I don't understand, Jason, is why you called your mother and then went to a meeting with your boss, with your mother.
Just had her come with me.
Why? Why would you go at all? You know what you're being accused of.
I don't know. I just went.
We had a poor ain't bad. Just say to your mother when she wrote out the check or paid them the money.
Nothing. I didn't actually see the ask her.
What did she do? Right?
I didn't open to her though.
You didn't say anything.
No.
Like, thanks, Mom, for bailing me out, or I don't want you to pay this money because I didn't do this. I'd rather we spend the money on a lawyer so I can have a clear name. Didn't say that?
No.
Did you make an arrangement with your mother to pay her back out of your paychecks?
No. I never set that up.
Who did?
I guess the lady that I was working for did.
And how many days did you work after your mother gave them the money?
I don't know, maybe 3 or 4.
Why did you leave?
They were harassing me.
Who was harassing you?
Talking about me in front of me, and I wasn't feeling comfortable about that, so I quit.
And where did you go to work?
I went to another job. I got a job at Dairy Queen.
For how long?
About a month.
And where'd you go after that?
That was a couple weeks ago. I haven't had a job yet since then.
Maximum limit in small claims court in your jurisdiction is $3,000. Is that why you said $3,000? That's what you owe your mother. Who are you living with?
My friend,
What does your friend do for a living?
he works in like, he makes the class for the slot machines in the casinos.
Do you know that you sound to me like you're lost? Seriously. You sound to me as if you're lost, and unless you take control of your life, sir, it's going to be over before you know it. You're keeping irresponsible babies forever. It wasn't fun when you have to grow it and take responsibility for it. By not making anybody else's life miserable. Leave her alone. Check for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,000. That's all. It's been hard. But I mean, I love my son.
I was frustrated with the comments they were making. I was getting mad. I didn't want to get too angry and go try and fight one of them or something, so I just left.
I've always loved my son. I love all my kids. But it's just a matter of how to be taken care of.
Maybe we can start talking again.
I hope we're going to talk along. I love you.
What the fuck?
To his only daughter.
I just went to the lawyer and signed off on your papers.
Man, I tried to throw you the alley, then I tried to pass it to you, and it kept hitting the back of me.
You can sign off the back child support. But you made an agreement to do that, Mel. I did not. Oh, yes, you did. Miss Johnson, I don't believe you.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheidt. The people are real. The cases are real. The rulings are final. This is Judge Judy. Rick Smith is suing his ex-wife, Marilyn Johnson, for back child support that she agreed to forgive after he agreed to forfeit his parental rights.
All right.
Johnson's case number 4620 found in the matter of Strand versus Johnson. You're welcome. That's probably sworn in, Your Honor. You may be seated, ma'am. Let's see, please.
Mr. Strands, is this your ex?
Yes, it is.
And you have one child.
Yes.
Your claim is that after you divorced, you were paying child support, not always consistently.
Yes.
And there came a time that your former wife remarried, and she approached you with the idea of asking you to relinquish your parental rights, allowing her husband to adopt your child, a girl, in exchange for forgiving the arrears that you owed her in child support.
Yes, sir.
You decided that that would be a good idea.
After a period of time, yes, Your Honor.
And did in fact go to court and relinquish your parental rights.
I didn't go to court. I just went to a lawyer and signed off on the papers.
When did you do that?
I believe it was approximately June 2005.
So your parental rights were terminated.
Yes, after the adoption was finalized.
Your claim is the state is now coming against you for the $3,800 that you owed in back child support.
Yes, sir.
They're doing that despite the fact that you had an agreement with Miss Johnson.
Yes.
So you want the $3,800 because lots of bad things have happened to you. Like what, sir?
I've lost my driver's license and my source of income. I'm unable to find work right now.
What kind of work did you do?
I'm a truck driver by trade.
Miss Johnson says you never had a contract with her. When was this arrearage accumulated?
It started with my attorney when we separated before the divorce, and it's gone on and off. When I'd get laid off in the wintertime, was unable to make payments.
through my unemployment until I got back to work and started paying again.
How many children did you have?
I have one husband and not one.
Two others. How old are they?
They are now 22 and 20.
So this was the only minor child.
Correct.
And what kind of work were you doing when you separated?
I was working, I'm not certain.
Were you ever receiving any sort of public assistance?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
When?
When we separated in 95.
And how long were you receiving welfare?
Until September of 96, I believe. I'm not certain.
Subsequent to 19, were you ever receiving any sort of public assistance again?
Yes.
When?
Don't recall the dates. I was receiving daycare assistance while I was working.
And how much child support were you paying, Mr. Strand, when you were paying?
It started out at $200 a month, and through cost of living increases, it had gone up every 2 years. The last time that it got increased, it went up to $404 every month.
Now, are you aware of the fact that your wife at that time and your daughter were receiving welfare?
I was aware of the fact that they were getting daycare assistance, yes.
Well, at some point she was getting welfare, and at some point she was getting daycare assistance, which is also another form of public assistance. And was it at that time that you were paying $400 a month?
Yes, Your Honor.
Were you always paying the $200 a month, or was that during the period of time when you were laid off, seasonally?
I always paid it when I was working, and when I would get laid off or when I was in between jobs, I wasn't paying it. But when I did get back to work, I always made a point to either contact the county or my ex-wife or both right away to let them know where I was working so they could continue to collect it.
You understand, Mr. Strand, this is your problem. Even if I believe that you had an agreement with your former wife that she would forgive the arrearages, she can't bind the state with regard to the arrearages. And if this $3,800 bill accumulated at the time when your daughter was receiving any sort of assistance, whether it be daycare or regular public assistance, she can't forgive that money.
Your Honor, there was a separate amount that was owed to the state, and the amount that was owed to my ex-wife as the custodial parent. The part that was owed to the state has already been taken care of.
Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
When was that?
That was taken care of when I filed bankruptcy last October. It was a sum of $1,100, and I was able to put that on my bankruptcy. So the $3,800.
So the state's never been paid?
No, the state was paid while I was paying child support. So much would go to my ex-wife, and so much would go towards what was owed to the state.
I thought you said that money was discharged in bankruptcy.
Not all of it, just what was owed at the time that I filed my bankruptcy.
$1,100.
Yes.
So the state did not get their $1,100. You just tried to discharge the bankruptcy.
Yes.
Why didn't you add this money?
Because you're not allowed in the state of Minnesota to discharge
Child
support until it gets turned over to your ex-wife or to collections as a debt owed.
Now, why, Ms. Johnson, do you think that your former husband made his parental rights?
Your Honor, I believe that he looked at her as the dollar sign, and he was never keeping employment or paying his bills, and he just felt that this was an easy way to get out of his obligation.
Well, you asked him to do that.
I suggested it, yes.
No, you asked him to do that. You approached him. He wouldn't think about that. You approached him. And what did you say when you approached him?
I just said that you're not being a very good father. My husband is willing to adopt our daughter if you sign over your rights. I will consider it.
Consider what?
That I could sign off if it was.
If it was what?
If I was able to.
You were able to what?
Sign it.
Sign what off?
The back child support.
Well, why can't you? If the state's been paid, you can sign off the back child support.
Not.
Oh, yes, you did. Because I don't believe that under those circumstances he would have gone to a lawyer. By the way, who paid his lawyer?
I don't know.
I didn't have a lawyer.
Whose lawyer did you go to?
Mine.
I went to her lawyer.
Oh, so you went to her lawyer.
Yes.
Made an appointment for him to go to see your lawyer.
He made the appointment.
Well, you paid. Miss Johnson, I don't believe you. And I have to make a judgment. You want to try to convince me that you didn't make an agreement with him and not give me this answer? I choose not to. Come on.
He was just not paying his child support.
So you said to him, I'll forgive your child support if you sign over your parental rights.
No, I did not. I said my husband has an interest in being my daughter's father, and if you would sign off, would we then forgive that child support? And I said, no problem. But
No, I don't believe that. That's a lie. That's a lie.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
You want to know something? You're a scammer. I don't know how you got Social Security disability. At age 47, I know people who were 67 with it.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Rick Strand claims ex-wife Marilyn Johnson owes for back child support that she agreed to forgive. Rick says the state is coming after him for the money.
So, two of you signed an agreement when you came here. It was a binding arbitration. Is that correct?
Yes.
I will draft an order to the state. What state?
State of Minnesota.
That I have determined after a hearing that you agreed to vacate any child support arrears that were owing to you in exchange for him to terminate his parental rights and allow your husband to adopt the child. That is my finding. Do you understand? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Pleasure. Excuse me, step down. So wait here, sir.
He was just looking at our daughter as a dollar sign.
That upsets me greatly.
He was trying to get out of his obligation of being a father.
I've always been a good father.
It's another one of his lies.
Well, I've already signed off on my parental rights,
Leave us alone.
but I would hope that someday she'd want to talk to me and interact with me.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Alvarez versus Burgos. Step forward.
Store owner Daniel Alvarez is suing his customer, Carmen Burgos, for cashing a counterfeit check at its door. Carmen says she was the victim of an internet scam.
Mr. Alvarez, what kind of store do you have, sir?
I have a general store. We sell music, we cash checks, we sell satellites. It's a little bit of everything.
The defendant was a customer of yours.
A regular customer. He had been there at least 4 or 5 occasions cashing checks.
And you charge a fee for that.
Yes, we do.
According to your complaint, sir, she gave you a check that you cashed for her.
Correct.
And it turned out to be a bad check.
Yes,
And your bank withdrew the money from your account. You want her to compensate you for the
that
check.
is correct.
Ms. Burgos says it was a bad check. She was conned with this check, and she's sorry that you're out the money, but it's not her fault. It's the fault of the people who scammed her. That's her defense. Is that correct?
Yes, I have
Ms. Burgos, that's fine. Where did you get this check from?
It was mailed to me.
From an employer?
No, I'm always on the computer and I'm always filling out sweepstakes and filling out numbers for lotto and that. So when I received the check,
So you received the check because you thought you won a prize?
yes, right.
But she didn't tell me that, Your Honor. I'm sorry.
Don't interrupt.
Sorry.
Your Honor, he wasn't there at the moment.
Listen to me.
Yes,
You got a check in the mail and you didn't know where it came from.
correct. I thought
So
it
you
was
thought
a
maybe you won a prize that you had played around with on the computer?
Yes, correct.
You have a copy of the letter?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to take a look.
Well, I have a copy because I gave Mr. Alvarez the original and the envelope indicated.
Shh. Mr. Alvarez, I don't want you to...
That is your reason.
And I also...
Now, this letter says that you won the North American Ballot Sweepstakes. And it tells you to call Debbie Bond in Canada.
Yes, Your Honor, that's who I called.
Just for my own information, when you called her, what is it that you claim she said to you?
Well, I called her because at first I
Tell me, just answer my question.
I asked her about that I had received a check for a sweepstakes for the $2,900. And she told me yes, and I told her it was sent here for processing. She goes, oh no, that's no problem. You could go ahead and change, that's part of what you have won. There's 72 people that are in
I
with
read the
it.
letter. There's 72 people that are going to share in $1.8 million.
Right, and that's just at the beginning of it, so you can go ahead and cash it.
Cash it.
That's right.
Fine.
I went
Do
to
you have a
Mr.
copy of the check?
Yes, I have
I'd
the
like to
original.
see it. Oh, you have the original?
Yes. Will
Love
the
to
bank
see it.
return it to me?
Love to see it. So you took the check into him?
Yes,
Cash.
like I take other checks.
State Employees Credit Union of Maryland, Inc. Well, I have to tell you, this certainly looks like, to my untrained eye, an official kind of check.
That's why I went to him and
Right. Miss Purpose, I got it. You thought you woke up and it was your lucky day.